today I have a really awesome reading for you all that I think will make sense of a lot of things, especially pertaining to Tartaria and ancient Egypt and basically all of our timelines. So I recently saw a live stream with Jason Padgett and danakippel. Go follow both of them on TikTok. I'll put their ads basically as receipts to kind of basically back up what I'm saying here and what they've been saying. So I took notes from that and I wrote them down here, and we're going to go over them. And then I'm going to follow up with some cards. I'm going to talk about some downloads that I've recently received as well. It's going to be a really awesome reading. So I definitely recommend, if you're interested in Tartaria or our ancient timelines that don't add up and don't make sense, I highly recommend you watching Trains Going, Divine Emphasis from Spirit. Orphan Trains has been also a big message that has been coming in. So we can basically birth new realities and worlds. This is proven. Jason Padgett, he has this thing called Upsight Vision. His story is really, really awesome. I highly recommend you checking him out. Again, I'll put his and Dana's. I love her as well. She talks all things plasma. Please go follow them, you guys. You will love them both, I can guarantee. Jason stated that we can birth new realities and worlds.
Between this feedback, emergence can happen where there is a completely new reality born. It isn't out of the question. It isn't as frequent, just like on Earth, most art is regurgitated or the same and has the same archetypes. But sometimes someone makes a completely fresh new thing and it's beautiful.
And also they were talking about how movies are also directly relatable to our reality, because all realities are valid.
So every possible history resides as a holographic information in each bit of you. So everything in the universe is contained within each of us. So if you are, like anything that you can imagine, as weird as this sounds, this is quantum mechanics and the weirdness, any possible movie that can be displayed on the event horizon is an actual real history, which means any movie that we have seen in a movie theater is a possible movie on the event horizon, which means everything that you can think of is actually real history in some version of the universe.
I always say that because number one, that's why movies feel so real. And number two, I'm an actor too. And when I act, it feels like I'm almost downloading that consciousness of that character. And I'm like, this has to be real somewhere.
Yeah, and we are. I mean, we are the projection. You and I are a movie on the event horizon. We are. It's like this is another way to think of it. Think of it like Netflix. Netflix has a library of movies, and so imagine this is the library of all Netflix movies, and it streams them to our computers or our holographic screens. The singularity contains the Bekenstein bound, which is 2 to the 123rd power number of films. It projects them through quantum entanglement and Hawking radiation onto the event horizon. So we are one of the histories, one of the possible movies of our universe's history playing out on the event horizon.
And they stated that we can birth new realities and worlds. So technically Oz is a thing. Oz, I related back to Tartaria because in that movie, and I don't know if I'll be able to enter it here, basically in Oz, I point out the different places where you can see giant doors in Emerald City. You can see the ether wheels. You can see the organ pipes of the church. There's so many references to that, and I point those out in that video. But I to see that video specifically, I will put the link below to the TikTok where I posted it, or to the Instagram where I posted it, if you're interested in seeing how I compared the two. Tartaria is basically a feedback loop, okay? And all realities actually happen, just not in the same order. And that's a quote from Jason Padgett.
So this shows that all realities actually happen, but they don't happen in the same order.
So this explains Tartaria. If all realities do happen, just not in the same order, then it's like all these timelines and realities and existences coincide at once. And it's basically what you focus on is what will bring it into existence or allow it to be perceived and allow it to be.
MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. They did an experiment with a beam of sodium atoms and found that a single atom passed through two holes going both ways at the same time. But they also found, please listen to this very carefully, they also found that an atom can be at two places at the same time. So all of a sudden, then the things that we used to talk about, say, and you say, well, yeah, I'm up there and I'm down here, yeah, I have faith. Forget it. It's true. It's provable. You are Adam. You're the son, the daughter of Adam. And you are two places at the same time. And you know you are because you've had deja vu. I feel like I've been here before. But I never have, but yet I feel like I have because you have. What part of you? You find this troubling because you live in a religious material world, and they said that these were spirits, but they never told you of atoms or bosons or photons. And this is this unseen world, which is just as important as the seen world. Somewhere between that inner, mysterious, invisible you and the atom, the quantum rule cuts out and the rule of classical physics cuts in, and you go on with your physical life. And it strikes right at the concept of reality. Scientists know that electrons and photons choose a trajectory. They move as they desire, and no one knows where they go. And now listen to this quote. Electrons are aware of more of the world than their immediate location. And that's what Albert Einstein said. It's a spooky action. And what this is all about is what you and me call God. How you went to church, didn't you? You gave 10% of your money and all. You didn't even know when this stuff happened. Any of these people in any of these churches and these places are packed. They know, they haven't a clue to what we're talking about. There is no meaning to the existence of an electron in space. The electron springs into existence when you observe it. Your brain is filled with it. When you meditate, what do you do? You seek within yourself. You look within yourself. You observe within yourself. And when you do that, the electrons, the photons, the atoms, which connects you to God, springs into existence. And what did Jesus say? What I say to you, I say to all. Watch.
There's different ways that you can go, which he talks about in the live stream.
When I decide I'm going to go left, there's a version of me that can't go left because I decided to go left.
Okay.
And so they have to go forward and backwards. So when I go left, there's a version of me that goes all possible ways that it can go. What do I consider myself? Do I consider myself this exact reality where everything is exactly like it happens, like here with every atom in me down to its spin is the same thing? If that's what I consider me, then there might not be free will. But if I consider the way that I am flowing through these histories and how that can change, then that does give you free will. So I go back and forth. One day I'm like, oh, we don't have free will. And the next day I'm like, well, I think we do, because even though all realities happen, you can change the path.
So maybe there is a set version of realities that we have free will within. We can dance within our box. The box has whatever, the Beck-and-Seen bound 200 kajillion lives, but our free will, what people call quantum jumping, I don't really like that word, but with each choice, we can go into another reality, and that is free will. There's just a set number of options for us.
Right. And the bigger the universe gets, the more options there are.
And I portrayed this back to the different arrows in Oz when she's speaking about where to go to the Scarecrow, and also the different arrow points in Wonderland as well. All these movies are showing us different things. The bigger the universe gets, the more options for realities there are. These are proven statements from their live stream that I took notes on that I'm going over. So everything that I'm saying right now is in fact valid, and I have the receipts to back it up. The event horizon gets larger as the universe expands. The bigger the universe gets, the more options for realities there are. So the event horizon actually gets larger as the universe expands. As it gets bigger to infinity, we could create new histories to infinity. So what does that mean? That means that these realities that we're perceiving are perhaps there because they can happen at any time. They can weave in and out of our perspective field. And the more attention that we give to something, the more it shows up in our reality. And so that just goes to show that, you know, no one really knew of Tartaria until people started exposing it and bringing it to light, literally. And once they brought it to light and more people started to put their eyes on that light, it became more and more real because it was something that needed to be perceived by the collective in order to exist. Okay? Here, perspective is literally everything. Yeah, that shows that perspective is literally everything. So he explains that black holes always exist, and how they form is by not being able to look at something. So when you look at a wall, for example, the wave function collapses and the version of reality becomes real. So there are these picture frames, and this is the way he explained it, is the moments in between the picture frames when you can't observe anything, all particles exist in superposition. When a photon is basically in all possible positions, and one of those position possibilities is two photons of opposite spin on one Planck area, which is 1 qubit. By definition, when this happens, from Leonard Susskind at the Chair of Standard Physics, by definition, it collapses into two entangled black holes that are connected by a wormhole. And these black holes start to emit this special type of light, which is called, and that's where the live stream split off, so I didn't catch what he said, but I'll have to go back and listen again. It happens in the singularity, cast as a shadow of light onto the event horizon, which danakippel believes has to do with plasma. Padgett then says that the event horizon is plasma. We are literally the music playing from black holes that is composed of a cork glue on plasma screen, which is the event horizon. And he said when you disrupt societal thoughts, the truth emerges. So basically, when you disrupt societal ways of thinking, or AKA groupthink, like in the book 1984 by George Orwell, that's when the truth emerges. So that's why it's important to disrupt societal thought or societal norm or the way that everyone is going. It's important to have something that goes opposing to that, to break the matrix, to break the simulation, to allow truth to emerge. And when it comes to describing all of this, when it comes to the universe, the math is right. The math is always right when it comes to describing the universe. When you're describing reality, it's called a dual description. This information description of reality is the dual description of quantum mechanics and reality, both combined under information. So example, 1 + 3 = 4, which equals 2 + 2, 2 + 2 = 1 + 3. It's the same thing, just being described two ways, which is a dual description. And he also said that space-time and the flower of life are the exact same thing. They're two reflections of each other. I basically got that it's two different languages that are describing the same thing. So here I wrote down Tartaria histories and time travel clue. All possible movies are on the holographic screen. And each movie or each history of the universe is like a channel that you can tune to on your TV. So you can tune to it on your TV or the plasma field. He also talked about how circles and colors don't exist as we think of it. Colors are information, or short wavelengths of light are blue, and long wavelengths of light are red. What makes a color is the distance from one peak of the wave to the next peak. And Dana said that colors are types of consciousness. This is why you might see some light beings. The beings could be communicating in different frequencies. So he basically proved that light beings are real, because to Dana's conclusion of that, about how you're able to see light beings, Jason said that all realities are real.
And guys, colors are types of consciousness. This is why you might see some light beings who are...
Oops, you just went quiet.
I was saying this might be the explanation for auras, for seeing different lights and beings, and maybe they're communicating in different frequencies or ultraviolet versus whatever. Anyway, keep going. I was just explaining.
Yeah, no, this actually shows the same thing. All realities are real.
The event horizon is like a TV, and you can tune the different frequencies and the angular frequency of what you're tuning to, and that is your reality. And they describe schizophrenia. Schizophrenia, what they're seeing is actually real. The realities all happen at different rates. So there are some that are more common realities and some that are less common realities. So schizophrenia, like what they're seeing is actually real. It's multiple realities at once, and it's how they're interacting with the plasma, Dana said. And the plasma is also referred to as Hawking radiation, as Jason Padgett describes it. And I thought that was interesting because I connected Hawking to, isn't there something with Stranger Things with that? I thought so. I'll have to look into that. But the main thing is that all realities are real, and people that perceive out of the societal norm are considered like crazy or schizophrenic. And I wanted to show you guys here that schizophrenia is simply a multidimensional lens. It's drawn like a sun, because the way that schizophrenic people see is that they see multiple things within the same reference point. It's literally, schizophrenia is literally just a multi-dimensional lens. That's what it is. And it's in the shape of the sun, and it also looks like Medusa. Here's the head with the snakes coming out. It's different. Being able to see multiple things at once that most people can't. It's just basically a heightened psychic ability, I think.
This actually shows the same thing. All realities are real. Think of the holographic screen. The event horizon is just like a TV, and you can tune to different frequencies. Mm-hmm. And the angular frequency of what you're tuning to, that is your reality. So when you see somebody who has like schizophrenia and they're talking to somebody who's not there, that reality that they see is real someplace. So what it looks like schizophrenia is literally their brain being tuned to a different frequency. And so, because all realities are real, they happen at different rates. Like there's some more common realities and some less common, but all realities are defined by their angular frequency. And that angular frequency, we can convert into regular visible frequency through something called a Fourier transformation. So, it literally
also proves why schizophrenia is real, and remember what we said is really important. What has to do with what do we need to affect to possibly solve schizophrenia or Alzheimer's? What was it we were telling each other?
To solve it, or to cure
Isn't it how their consciousness reflects off the plasma? Like obviously they're seeing multiple realities at once, so there must be some solution that has to do with how they're sensing this Hawking radiation or this plasma and interfering with their consciousness in the wrong way. Right.
Yes, so think of it like all possible movies are on the holographic screen, and each movie or each history of the universe is like a channel that you can tune to on your TV. their brains are tuned to a channel that is different than ours. Like we all can pretty much agree on what's happening around us, even though everything's relative and it changes. We're all kind of going basically the same speed. So we're seeing a version of reality that's so similar, we can all kind of agree. But somebody who has schizophrenia is literally tuned into a frequency that is not this one. And they're seeing a reality that's real someplace, but we don't agree with them that it's real here, even though it technically is real. Like I could have schizophrenia right now and be talking to, you know, a tree, but I think it's a phone and you guys, you know, so what is real reality is dependent on who's looking at it.
And so these were the major notes that I went over, is that we can birth new realities and worlds. So we can literally birth Oz and Tartaria. We can birth Tartaria. What does that mean? We can collectively put our consciousness onto something and allow it to exist. All realities actually happen, just not in the same order. This explains Tartaria. As the event horizon gets larger, the universe expands. As it gets bigger to infinity, we could create new histories to infinity. Tartaria. All realities are real. Tartaria. The event horizon is like a TV, and you can tune to the different frequencies and the angular frequency of what you're tuning to, and that is your reality. Tartaria. What is reality is dependent on who is looking at it. So everyone's perception is technically real. And so when you have a collective viewing upon something, you can bring it back into reality. And I feel like that is literally what we're doing with Tartaria. It's a very different way of perceiving and looking at it, but it's actually scientifically proven here through Jason Padgett's work. So, and the live stream they just did. So I wanted to go over all of that and talk about that before I forget it all again. And I do have different clips that I will insert here to back up what I received. And I had basically said this about schizophrenia years prior to this live stream. So it's basically showing how ahead of my time I actually am. And I know that, but it's nice to have that proven.
Let's say we create information with our consciousness that, let's just say information is consciousness. If we're creating worlds in our head and there are all these realities, we can maybe travel to different densities with our consciousness. And these densities can hold different visual realities, different pockets of information within the earth and elsewhere.
Absolutely. So when you observe something, you're collapsing the wave function. So in quantum mechanics, all possibilities are always happening. So at this moment, I could go left, I could go right, I could go up, I could go down. But all of those are happening simultaneously.
How to travel the universe, where we're in, what Jason said, we're in this holographic box where everything's on top of each other in different densities. We can travel anywhere with our consciousness. And eventually maybe technology can show us more visuals, or we could wear a suit where we feel the world we're traveling in. But either way, reality is going to get really freaking weird and crazy.
Real quick. The rate of change of velocity is acceleration, which is curvature, and curvature, Einstein proved acceleration is equivalent to gravity. Mm-hmm. So these bits of light, it's a self-referential feedback loop. It's the mirrors reflecting light, and light uses itself to define information.
So let's pull some cards on this, because I want to reflect upon this and see what else we receive. So in this reading, we proved Tartaria is real. New realities can be birthed into reality by simply focusing on them. All realities are real, and what is real is dependent upon who is looking at it. Schizophrenia is simply the multidimensional lens. It's a heightened attunement or sense of multidimensionality and being able to perceive multiple things at once, and through this realm to other realms as well, and anchor that into this realm. Okay, and we also proved that light beings are real, because everything within consciousness is real. All realities are real. Light beings are real, and Jason Padgett even agreed with that statement. So that is proof, and I've shown proof of this as well. If you haven't seen my latest ET reading, I will insert what it looks like here, and you can go to that and see where I prove to you in real time that ET light beings are in fact real, because I am full disclosure. All right, so let's see. Yeah, so they burnt down a lot of the buildings of Tartaria. They're trying to not allow this to come to be. It's basically like the kingdom coming, kingdom come, like birthing heaven onto earth. And when I was 11 years old, you guys, I channeled in my notebook, their spirit is guiding me to say this, and I wasn't planning on telling this now, but I guess it's time. So when I was 11 years old, I wrote in my notebook, I basically zoned out, and I automatic wrote that I will be bringing heaven onto earth. And then I came back from zoning out and writing that down, and I actually wrote what I had written because I had no idea what I had written. And I just started bawling my eyes out for like an hour, just like happy tears, because I felt it and I knew it was true. And so it also coincides with the day that I was born. My astrology chart is so intense, and there are so many 0 degrees within my birth chart, showing that that's the point between the worlds. It's the veil between the worlds, and literally showing that I am here to anchor both worlds into one. I am here to be able to see beyond the veil and also anchor that back here. And so this whole live stream just validated a lot of things for me. And then coming across, after watching that live stream, I came across a reading on YouTube that was talking about the owl again, and I just went over that within one of my last interactions on YouTube, where I spoke about that. And it's talking about bringing a miracle onto earth. And because I understand the mechanics and the equations of the universe, which they had gone over in that live stream, and I had solved a bunch of equations a few days prior having to do with the equation of a curve, and showing that, and how it was 9/11, which is the palindrome number to my birth time, which is 119, which is Mary Magdalene's name in simple gematria. And then also having solved all these equations having to do with circles, and and it showed OA, and I'm like, oh, the OA, and that's been coming up a lot as well. It's just, everything is coming through. And she said in that reading, you'll understand the universe's equations, and because you can hold paradoxes and polarity, you will be able to anchor something that is a miracle onto this world. And I was like, well, if that isn't a sign, I don't know what else is. I think the government, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I feel like they are trying to stop this from happening, but there will be success. And we are the leaders for this, and something is being hidden. There are also a lot of leaders, world leaders, that are frustrated by what is being unveiled right now. And we're sensing that turmoil as a collective. And as long as you stay true to your heart and you're generous with what you are sharing to the people that you feel you should be sharing it to, then everything will be successful and everything will come to be as it's meant to. And so I also feel like there are a lot of leaders that are waking up also to showing what is meant to come and what is meant to be. And if you think about it, Dorothy goes to Oz, and it's like the Emerald City, and receives wishes, but she held that power all along to bring the 3D into heaven, and to bring the heaven back to the 3D after she has that dream of Oz. She is able to share it with the world. It's the same thing. And you hold that power, and there is no place like home, because you are that home resonant frequency of all realms. And yeah, it's just so much coming in. Yeah, there's a lot of people out in the world spreading misinformation, and I feel like a lot of them are maybe knowingly or unknowingly like agents of the Matrix to try to keep things from being brought to light or being exposed. And so that's why it's so important to not let that get you down, to focus on joy, to raise your vibration, to keep anchoring this light in, this knowledge in. Don't let anyone tell you that, you know, that you can't do the impossible, because even the word impossible says I'm possible. It's a lot of work, yes, but we've been doing it and we will be successful in this. And so people are having this struggle as well with reality and illusion, because actually both is true. All things are true at once. Wow, my screen just lit up. Did you guys see that? That was so crazy. I don't know how, I wish it would have been light this whole time. That was really weird and trippy. Wow, things are definitely being brought to light. And so when you're seeing things, don't ever discount them, because you have to weigh them in your mind and understand that what you're perceiving you can bring to light, so you do hold more power than you could ever imagine, and your imagination is real, and you can anchor that here. You can anchor all good things here. Okay, what else? And that's the truth. This card just flew out. Justice, truth. I don't know if you can see it, but it says truth. So justice is coming and the truth will come to light. And look, this angel literally has the moon behind her, but it looks like it's a bubble, and it looks like it's freaking Glinda, the good witch, coming to deliver good news. Wow, it's very synchronous. There's so much more I could speak on, but I don't want to keep this reading too long, because I know that it's a lot of information, and I want this to sit with you guys and to see what you come across and how you vibrate with the information and how it relates to you. And please do leave your comments and your thoughts below this. I would love to hear, I'd love to know what you think and what you received during this reading, as far as activations or downloads, or even days after you watch this. If you receive something, please do come back and leave it in the comments. I love reading your guys' comments. Definitely subscribe if you have not already. It helps me out a lot. I love you all so much. If you wanted a reading with me, all my readings can be found down in the description box below on my Etsy shop. Kimberkiss readings, all one word. They are phenomenal. You can read my hundreds of reviews on there. I've helped many people all over the world, and I would love to help you as well. It is what I do. It is what I love to do. It is what I'm most passionate about. And until next time, guys and gals, I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.